2009, a 21-year-old engineering student in Zagreb, Croatia, was in his parents' garage with a 1984 BMW E30, a collection of salvaged electric motors, battery cells, and control electronics, and an idea that most of his peers told him was impractical. He was going to convert that BMW to electric power, and then race it against a petrol-powered car, to prove that electric vehicles could be more than silent commuter transportation. The conversion took months of evenings and weekends, and when it was done, he lined up that BMW E30 against a Porsche 911 and filmed what happened next. He won, easily. He uploaded the video to YouTube, and the internet told the story faster and wider than any automotive magazine could have. And that video of a homemade electric car beating a Porsche 911 on a drag strip launched one of the most extraordinary economic journeys in the history of the automobile industry. 15 years later, Mate Rimac is a CEO of a company worth approximately $12 billion. That owns 55% of Bugatti, that supplies electric powertrain technology to Porsche, Hyundai, and Koenigsegg, that employs 2,500 engineers, and that just completed a €200 million campus on the outskirts of Zagreb. That represents the single largest private investment in Croatian industrial history. Today, I'm going to decode the complete economics of how Mate Rimac built that journey. From the garage to the campus, from the salvaged battery cells to the 2,078 horsepower Nevera R, and from a YouTube video to a $12 billion automotive technology empire. The concept one economics that proved the concept. Here is where the Rimac economic story becomes genuinely extraordinary, and where Mate Rimac demonstrated the strategic intelligence that most people who watched the BMW E30 video never anticipated after the viral moment of the drag race. Rimac did not simply build more fast electric conversions. He founded Rimac Automobili in 2009 and began developing a purpose-built electric hypercar that would serve simultaneously as a product, as an engineering demonstration, and as the proof of concept required to attract the investment and partnership interest of major automotive manufacturers. The Concept One revealed at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 2011 was a purpose-built electric hypercar producing approximately 1,000 horsepower, with performance figures that were competitive with any internal combustion hypercar of its era, and Rimac produced approximately 8 units at a reported price of approximately $1 million each, generating approximately $8 million in revenue. From a car that likely cost $10 to $15 million to develop and produce, the economics of the Concept One were not intended to be profitable in isolation. They were intended to be the proof of concept that opened doors. And they opened the most important door in Rimac's history, the Porsche door, the strategic investment economics that changed everything. Here's the financial event that transformed Rimac from a fascinating Croatian startup into a genuinely viable industrial enterprise. Porsche AG, the sports car subsidiary of Volkswagen Group, made its first investment in Rimac in 2018, acquiring approximately 10% of the company, and then increased that stake to 24% in 2021. Hyundai Motor Group made a parallel investment, also acquiring approximately 12%, and the combined effect of these investments was not primarily financial, it was validation. When Porsche and Hyundai, two of the most technically sophisticated automotive companies in the world, invested in Rimac's technology, it communicated to every other manufacturer considering an EV powertrain partner that Rimac's engineering capability was real and reliable and worth building a supply relationship around. And the supply relationships that followed: Rimac technology in the Porsche Taycan, Rimac powertrain in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 in performance variant, Rimac collaboration with Koenigsegg on several projects, Rimac powertrain in the Aston Martin Valhalla, collectively created a B2B technology business that is now the primary economic foundation of the Rimac empire, generating approximately €500 million in annual revenue, and growing, from a business that most people who follow Rimac as a hypercar company have never considered separately from the cars. The Bugatti merger economics that created the empire. Here's a transaction that elevated Rimac from a well-funded startup to a company with a genuine claim to being the most strategically important new automotive enterprise of the 21st century. In 2021, Volkswagen Group's restructuring of Bugatti, which we decoded in the Bugatti economics video, resulted in a merger of Bugatti Motor Holding with Rimac Automobili, creating Bugatti Rimac, in which Rimac holds 55% and Porsche AG holds 45%, and Mate Rimac, at 33 years old, became the CEO of a company that owns one of the most iconic automotive brand names in the world. And the economics of what Rimac brings to Bugatti and what Bugatti brings to Rimac explain why Volkswagen Group made this specific structure work. Rimac brings to Bugatti the electric and hybrid powertrain technology that is essential for Bugatti's next generation vehicles to meet global emissions regulations, the engineering capability at a fraction of the internal cost of developing those systems within Volkswagen Group, and the organizational agility and technical creativity of a company that is 15 years old rather than 115. Bugatti brings to Rimac the most recognized luxury hypercar brand name in the world, the customer relationships and dealer network that Rimac alone could never have built, and the validation of European heritage that makes the joint brand more commercially powerful than either component separately, the Rimac campus economics that made Croatia an EV center. Here is a €200 million investment that represents the most visible expression of Rimac's economic ambition. And that tells the story of the company's economics more clearly than any financial statement could. The Rimac campus, completed in 2023 on approximately 100,000 square meters of land in Sveta Nedelja near Zagreb, houses three distinct operations that represent the three economic pillars of the Rimac enterprise. The Rimac Technology Center, where approximately 1,000 engineers develop electric powertrain systems for external automotive customers, is the largest and most economically significant component, generating the B2B revenue that provides the financial foundation for everything else. The Bugatti Rimac Design and Engineering Studio, where the Bugatti Tourbillon and future joint vehicles are developed, is the prestige and brand component that justifies a premium pricing of the hypercar business, and the battery cell manufacturing facility, where millions of battery cells are produced monthly using a robotic production line that represents some of the most advanced battery manufacturing outside of Asia, is the most strategically forward-looking component because it positions Rimac not just as a consumer of battery technology, but as a producer of it, and the economic logic of producing your own battery cells, rather than sourcing them from Asian suppliers, is that it reduces the most significant cost component in any EV, gives Rimac direct control over the performance characteristics that differentiate its products, and creates a supply business that could generate revenue from external customers in the same way that the powertrain technology business already does. The Nevera economics that define the hypercar business. Here is what the Rimac consumer product economics look like in 2026. The Rimac Nevera and its updated successor, the Nevera R, is a fully electric hypercar producing approximately 2,078 horsepower, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 1.74 seconds, making it the fastest accelerating production car ever recorded, priced at approximately $2.4 million per unit, with production limited to approximately 150 total units, generating total potential revenue of approximately $360 million from the Nevera program, and the Bugatti Tourbillon, the first joint product of the Bugatti-Rimac partnership, announced in 2024 at a price of approximately 3.8 million euros, with production limited to 250 units, generating total potential revenue of approximately 950 million euros from the Tourbillon program. These two products, together with whatever joint future product follows the Tourbillon, represent the prestige and brand elevation component of the Rimac economics, the component that attracts the headlines, the magazine covers, and the 1.4 million YouTube views, while the B2B powertrain technology business generates the revenue that actually pays for the campus and the engineers who make it all possible. The complete economic picture of what Rimac has built. Here's what the Rimac enterprise looks like as an economic entity in 2026. Rimac Technology, the B2B EV systems business, generates approximately 500 million euros in annual revenue, at operating margins estimated at 10 to 15%, producing approximately 50 to 75 million euros in annual operating income. Bugatti Rimac, the hypercar business combining Nevera and Bugatti programs, generates variable annual revenue depending on delivery schedules, but represents potential revenue of approximately 1 billion euros over the current program cycle. Rimac total enterprise valuation, approximately $12 billion. Mate Rimac's ownership stake, approximately 37%. Mate Rimac's paper net worth, approximately $4.4 billion. At 36 years old, from a garage in Zagreb, with a salvaged BMW and an electric motor, to $4.4 billion in enterprise value. In 15 years, The Rimac story is not primarily a story about technology, it is a story about economic strategy. Mate Rimac understood from the beginning that the fastest path to scale was not selling hypercars. It was using hypercars to prove a technology capability and then selling that technology capability to every major automotive manufacturer that needed it. The BMW E30 that started everything is still in Mate Rimac's personal collection. Kept at the Rimac campus, among the McLarens and Ferraris and Porsches that his $4.4 billion enterprise has made possible to own, and it sits there not as a museum piece, but as the most honest economic explanation of everything that came after it. Proof that the best business plans sometimes start with a YouTube video, and a Porsche that does not expect to lose. You have been decoded. If this video made you see Rimac and Mate Rimac's story, and the economics of building a billion-dollar company from a garage in a completely different way, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004. Every single week, we decode the economics of the founders and companies that are reshaping the industries that define our world. Simply, honestly, and clearly. Drop a comment below. Do you think Rimac will eventually become more valuable than Bugatti itself? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.